approximation and estimation. Basically, what we're looking at, there's two types. There are decimal places and there are significant figures. Now these are easy marks. This will be tested in the exam and you don't want to throw these away. Decimal places, you start counting after the decimal point. So start counting after the decimal point. In significant figures, you start counting at the first number that isn't zero. That isn't zero. Now I need to put another wee thing on here. If you end up with any gaps before the decimal point, fill in with zeros. Now we'll see a couple of wee examples here to make sense of that. If I had 57.329 and I wanted that to one decimal place, what I would do, I would go with decimal point. There's your decimal place there. The 2 doesn't change it, so you'd write that as 57.3. If I wanted the same number to one significant figure, I would start counting at the very first number that isn't zero. The 7 changes that up to a 6. I'm left with a gap before the decimal point, so I must fill it up with a 0. Now, a wee rule of thumb is both those answers should be roughly the same. So we'll see another one like that. 4.9265. And if I want 3 decimal places here, you start counting at the decimal point. 1, 2, 3. Remember the 5 pushes it up, so that becomes 4.927. If I wanted the same number to 3 significant figures, you start counting at the first digit. 1, 2, 3. The 6 changes the 2 up 1. So 4.93. And we'll do some of the larger numbers. 1762.534. And if I want one decimal place, you start counting there. 3 doesn't change it. 1762.5. If I wanted the same figure to one significant figure, you start counting at the beginning. The 7 changes that up 1. You've got 3 gaps before your 0 or before your decimal point. Fill them in with zeros. Now we'll have a look at very small numbers. 0.00999. And if I wanted that to 3 decimal places, let's put an extra 9 in there. So 1, 2, 3. The 9 pushes that up 1, so it's 0.001. If I wanted the same number to 3 significant figures, this is where it gets a little strange. 7 figures start at the first number that isn't 0, so you start there. 1, 2, 3. The 9 pushes it up 1. Now sometimes people get confused as to how this actually works. If you just go over to the side here and write that number out, 0.00999. I want to increase that by 1. So just pop 1 underneath it and add it on. 9 add 1 is 10. 9 add 1 is 10. 9 add 1 is 10. 0 add 1. 0, 0. Now people think that's wrong, that answer I've given there. That answer is completely correct. So that's your decimal places and significant figures. The other thing that comes into this one here is estimation. If you're ever asked to estimate a calculation, you round it to each digit to one significant figure first. So round each number to one significant figure. So let's see a few examples of that. If I had 84 times 7.89 over 0.385 and I was asked to approximate it, so approximate. That becomes 80, that becomes 8, and that becomes 0.4. So sorting this out, 8 times 8 is 64 and you've got a 0. Now remember, you cannot divide by a decimal, so you must move it once. Your decimal point is here, moving at once. You get 6400 divided by 4. And just dividing that through. 4 into 6 goes once, with 2 over. 4 into 24 goes 6, and 4 into 0, and 4 into 0. And that's your answer. We'll do another one of those. We'll go for 504 times 78. Again, the question will be approximate or estimate. Either of those words could be used, over 389. So that's 500 times 80 over 400. 5 times 8 is 40. 1, 2, 3 zeros. Over 400. And to break that down, 0 at the top, on the bottom, top and bottom. 400 divided by 4 is 100. And I'll just finish off by doing one more of them here. 5.8 times 21.7 over 6.2 minus 3.9. So again, the question is saying estimate or approximate. So 5.8 becomes 6, 21 becomes 20, and that becomes 6, take away 4. So it's 120 over 20 gives you 60. These type of questions, the one that you're likely to get in the exam is one of these ones where it's dividing by a decimal. They like to do the approximation and check the decimal division at the same time. So make sure you focus in on those kind of questions there. The final number chapter here we're going to be looking at is BODMAS. Brackets, order, or off, whatever you prefer. Order I talk about is the wee power, like 2 to the power of 3 or something like that. D divide, M multiply, A add, and S subtract. So everybody should be familiar with this. We'll just run through a couple of wee quick examples just to refresh your memory in that. If you have it split into a fraction, treat each line separately. So I will do the top line. Do your division first. 40 minus 5, which is 35. Bottom line, do your multiplication first. 2 times 1 is 2. So it's 3 add 2 is 5, giving you 7 as an answer. And we'll do another one of those ones, and then we'll do one on the calculator. 18 divided by 3, 5 minus 1 times 3. So you go into your brackets first. Within the brackets, you're going to do your multiplication first. So it's 3. Now you're probably okay to do this in your heads. 5 take away 3 is 2. So it's 18 divided by 3, bracket 2. And remember in maths, if there's no sign, you always multiply. I want to lay this out slightly differently here. 18 divide means over. So if you put it over like that, you can clearly see you're going to do the bottom line first. 18 divided by 6 is 3. So that's just an awkward wee one, the layout of it there. When a fraction is written out like that, it's easy to keep the top and the bottoms and sort them out. When it's split like that, I would recommend you writing it like a fraction. Questions in the calculator now, these can come up. I want to just check that you're familiar with all the different buttons on the calculator at this stage. So I'm going to have a wee look at this one here, and I will show you how I would put this into the calculator. First of all, if you're using a calculator, make sure you write everything down. So I'm going to find the 5th root. So above your power button is the root button. So if I shift the root button, and then I want the 5th root, move it across, of 4.15 equals. Now I would write that down just in case you wipe the calculator and something goes wrong. 25903 plus. Now to work out this one here, it's 2.45 cubed. There's your cube button there. Cubed equals, and then square root, and use your answer button, which is down there, equals. So that's coming up as 3.834856581. Now never round your answers until the very end. You want to keep it completely accurate, giving you 5.164115611. You could have done all that in one go, and I'll show you how to do it in one go. So it's the 5th root of 4.15 equals, add the square root, I like to use brackets, of brackets, 2.45 cubed, close brackets, equals. And I get exactly the same answer. And I'll do one more on the calculator, and that should be us for BODMAS. Try and look for a difficult one here. 7.45 add 3.25 times 1.68 over the square root of 34.2. So we go into the top line first. So do your multiplication. And this I'm going to do 3.21 times 1.68 equals, and then I would just add on my 7.45. And I would recommend you writing that top line down. So it's 12.91 over, and then work out the square root of 34.2, which is 5.848. Write it down. Now never clear your calculator in a wee sum like this, because what I can do is put in 12.91 divided by answer. So 12.91 divided by answer to give me an answer of 2.207563421. Now the question wanted 3 significant figures. That's if it wanted 3 significant figures, I'll just add it in, 3 significant figures. You'd go start at the beginning, 1, 2, 3. The 7 would change that up to a 1. I'm just going to check that calculation by doing it all in one go in the calculator. So you do your multiplication first, 1.68. You add on your 7.45 equals divided by the square root of 34.2, giving you your 2.21 when it's rounded. It is quite a good idea in an easy topic like this to do it both ways, writing out long and then just put it into your calculator to double check everything's correct.